History for Fools. What's up, man?
Yo, what up, man? Welcome to
Where were
History
you this
for
last
Fools.
weekend?
I went back to the Bay. Went up to the Bay to go do a couple shows. We did the Sky Vegan show, sold that out, rad. And I think I headlined this place called. Hey, do you remember Casey Williams over at Sally Tomatoes?
No. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a club now called the Barrel Proof Bar, and it's a comedy club. And I headlined that, and I think we came close to selling that out. So, 2 great days. Chill
What
with my
city
lady.
was that?
Huh?
What city?
Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa one night, and then the Sky Vegan Cafe in South San Francisco the next night. And then just chill with my lady for a day in Benicia.
So you don't work the weekends on at the Improv?
I do, but I get time off if I get to if I have a show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I was in Richland, Virginia.
How was that?
At the Funny Bone.
How was that?
It was good, man. I packed it out. They're gonna bring me back next year.
Was it cold?
No, it was cold, but not like 38.
Okay.
It was just 43, 47.
It wasn't like Rhode Island.
Nah. I bought some cool pants and a T-shirt at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Okay.
There was a lot of people who drove 2 hours to the show. Some people drove from D.C.
Oh, nice. How far is Richland from D.C., do you think?
2 hours to thing.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, people be driving far to those shows, dude.
So shout out to I did my joke. I found out where all the Latinos live at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I said when I was coming to Richmond, Virginia, people were telling me, "Where are you going over there, man? There ain't no Latinos over there." Yeah, but they're in the surrounding cities, like the city of Hopewell, Colonial Heights.
Right.
Mexicans call it Colonia Huato now. Bojangles is pronounced Bojangles. Yeah, they have a lot of Bojangles.
What is Bojangles?
Bojangles is like KFC over there.
How is it?
I never had it.
Oh, that's right, because you're vegan.
I just joke about it.
Yeah, I saw it once somewhere we were at. I can't remember. Maybe it was Florida.
There it is.
Bojangles.
Bojangles, bro.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's like a Church's. It looks like Church's level chicken.
Or Pioneer Chicken.
Pioneer. That's what I meant. Pioneer. Church's bomb.
They also have you ever heard of Taco John?
Yes. Where did I see Taco John? Is that out there too?
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably where I saw it. I've never had it though. I've never had either.
I had this place called it's called Rise Biscuits because their biscuits rise.
They sound amazing.
Oh my god, dude! They had
buttermilks.
Yeah, man. But they have flavored biscuits. They have blueberry biscuits.
Oh yeah,
they have those cheese biscuits like Popeyes, and then the regular biscuits. So I got the biscuits. There it is, right there, bro. That's the sandwich I got up there. I got the vegetarian chicken sandwich with biscuit, and I got a biscuit with a fried green tomato because every time I go to the south, I gotta get a fried green tomato because they don't have them anywhere else. So they have it with a cheese, some kind of cheese called.
Do you put the fried green tomato in the bread?
Yeah, that's the way it comes.
Okay.
Or you can eat them with honey. Also, they got beignets there too.
I love beignets. I've never had like real beignets from the south though.
Look at boom.
How is that blueberry? Because I just never realized like you could put blueberries, strawberries, in buttermilk biscuits, and that would probably be fucking amazing. Like when you said that, I'm like, why wouldn't you put blueberries in a buttermilk biscuit?
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Because you'll call it a muffin.
Well, I don't know, dude. Buttermilk's different, dude. Buttermilk's got that kind of like flour bleachy flavor that I like.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for if you listen to the History for Fools, like if you're listening to it right now, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel.
Yes,
and also
please.
sharing the podcast History for Fools, sharing the TikTok story, You can also leave a comment. I know there's only like 27 comments, so I know there's more than 27 of you listening. So appreciate it if you leave a comment on
say what's up.
Spotify.
Yeah.
You know, just say that Butch sucks if you want.
You could totally shit on me. I'm fine with that.
Tell him I saw him at the Improv.
I have
He
a
was
little
just standing
dick,
there
all
on
that
his
shit.
phone.
But hey, bonus points if you say Butch has a little dick and a wide butthole.
Even more bonus points if you don't say that and just mention stuff like, "Oh, he don't know shit about guns," or he don't know nothing. He didn't know nothing about history.
They already doing that.
He's just hanging out right there. He didn't know nothing. He learned. You could tell he learned everything an hour ago.
I did though. I really did. That's the thing is, this one I almost did. No, I didn't do it on this one, but.
Oh man, I've been watching. I started watching a show on Hulu, but then I stopped watching it because it's actually a true story, and it's a remake of an old show that I didn't want to watch back then.
What show is that?
Shogun. The original one was with Richard Chamberlain.
Yes.
And it sucked.
Okay.
And then the second one was done with Tom Cruise. That shit sucked.
Okay.
But then there's a new one right now on Hulu, and I was thinking about history for Foos and Shoguns. But then there's a white shogun in there. What happened was, quick little history on that. Back then in Japan, during shoguns, this is the 1600s, 1653, the only person that was dealing and trading with them was the Portuguese, bro. The Portuguese, Butch.
Okay.
And no British, no French, no Protestants, no nothing. So, and it blew me away because as soon as the show starts, all these Japanese are Catholic in 1600.
No.
That's what I said. No.
Right.
But it's a fact. The Portuguese,
They were.
They started trading there in the beginning. They started
Okay.
trading. Then they opened up a church, and they made all those Asians right there Christian in the area. And they left one priest there in charge. So these pirates that were working for the British, they ended up going to that little part of Japan and then they killed all his troops, and they kept him alive, and they made him a shogun. And because that boat was full of cannons, full of gunpowder, and again I guess that shogun guy, they were trying to go against him, so he uses that boat to fight other shoguns. Yeah, so that's the story on that. But what blew me away, bro, was that there was Catholics there, bro.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And then when they had the translator, the translator that was Catholic, he spoke Portuguese, and that guy spoke a little bit of that pidgin Portuguese I told you about.
Yeah.
So
that like combo language.
Yeah, dog. So I was just blown away that there was Catholics there, and when they were dragging the guy in, and they saw that the Japanese saw that he was white, they were saying, "Is he a Christian? Is he a Christian?"
Yeah.
But then
why? Because if they didn't like Catholics didn't like Christians or something.
No, Christian is Christian. Protestant is not, because Catholic is like Catholic is like our Father who art in name,
right.
the Pope,
Saints and shit
Pope.
Like that, Pope, fucking all
but
that shit.
the British are Protestant, which comes from the word to protest, because they were protesting Catholicism, because back then when it was just Catholic, bro, when it was everything was just Catholic back in the days, they were all supporting the priest, supporting the Pope. But
right.
When then the archdiocese, they started selling the Pope fucking, before you have to be a full blown Catholic priest to be a Pope.
Right.
But then they changed it, bro. Like if you have a shitload of money, you could be the Pope. So that's when the Protestant broke off from the Catholic Church. They became Protestant. It was because of that guy Lutheran, whatever his name is, Lutheran. He started the Lutheran Church.
Yeah. Okay.
Huh?
Paul Lutheran?
Yeah. What's his name?
I think it's Paul Lutheran.
Paul Lutheran. Yeah, he broke off from the Catholic Church to start his own religion, which became Christian Protestant, and that's what the British are right now. They're Protestant. So when the priest from the Portuguese priest was translating the Japanese to to what the guy from Britain was saying in that show Shogun.
Right.
He called him a papist, and that's a derogatory name for
a Catholic.
For a Catholic, because they say you're sworn allegiance to a pope before you do to God.
Right.
And then if you want to watch something similar to what I'm talking about, it's called the Borgias, the Borgias.
The Borgias.
And that guy he was like the last real pope.
Wait,
and he paid his way in to be a pope.
Did you see Shogun?
No, just one episode.
How did you like it?
It was all right, but I learned all this because I watched Shogun before.
Right. I never seen Shogun.
But when I saw those, because see, in the other Shogun with Tom Cruise, they didn't show the Catholics.
Right.
The Catholic Japanese.
Right here it says.
You're talking about not the show with
Oh.
Tom Cruise. You're talking about The Last Samurai.
Yeah, but same thing.
In Google it says that the Catholicism started in 1549 in Japan.
Wow. 15 what?
1549.
1549. 1492, they fucking landed in America, bro. God damn, they're just spreading the gospel, huh?
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, there's the whole Inquisition, Spanish Inquisition, and that shit,
man.
dude.
So that just blew me away, man.
That's pretty. I have no idea. I did see The Last Samurai
With Tom Cruise, right? The Great Wall.
It was a good movie, but I definitely was sitting there going like, "Fucking white people do everything right."
I really thought that was all fake, bro. Like
wait, The Last Samurai is real?
No, but the Shogun is. It's named
and
after.
The Shogun's about a guy who's a white dude who's a samurai.
Who the English?
Okay.
No, they teach him to be a samurai.
Right. Well, I mean, there's also like the Black Samurai is about a real black samurai.
That was in Compton.
I don't know. He's from Africa. He was like look up a real black samurai for me, please. Shit.
Next time, bro.
Motherfucker. Fuck! No.
Sounds made up, anyways.
Nah, dude. Hey, look. Time out.
Real fast, what's the black samurai name?
Play it during the song. Just show the thing. Just show the thing during the song. Just show that so doesn't think I'm lying about a black samurai.
Orlando Jones?
Nah, man, he's like a slave or something, dude. Yep, there it is.
All right.
All right.
Great Britannia will rule the world. We will never be slaves. That right there is the Great Britain national anthem that was sung during the 1700s when Great Britain was in power with King George and his wife Queen Charlotte. If I'm correct. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the History for Fools American Revolution.
Classes in session.
As we know it.
Dude, can I just say before we start here,
this is nothing to do with History for Fools. This is a take. I don't know what they call that. They used to show this. This is Butch Escobar breakdown of everything he learned. His commentary.
Hot take.
Here we go.
Hot take. First of all, I did not know anything about the American Revolution when you said. And then, so this is how we work. This is so people know. So far, we have not planned anything ahead of time. It's week to week.
Yes.
Chiniese food, we had 2 days to learn. Right? Like 2 or 3 days, maybe.
But I did read that whole book. Chop suey.
Right. I hadn't read anything on Chinese food, so I had 3 days to learn.
And I am drinking right now
and
English tea with cream in honor of Great Britain.
Cheers. I'm drinking bubbly water because but okay. So when you said the revolution, American Revolution, I was like, sure, I'll check it out. Bro, this fucking thing.
Did they teach you this in elementary school?
They probably did, and I didn't pay attention. I know nothing about the American Revolution. Like I thought Benedict Arnold was like a guy from from the Byzantine era or something. Like exactly, Eggs Benedict. Like I didn't know who Paul Revere was. I didn't know how George Washington came to power. Also, I didn't know. There's so much. I just thought July 4th was when we actually gained independence from like Britain was just like, all right, here you go.
I know,
later.
man. Like if we were to celebrate 4th of July the way they're supposed to be celebrate, we should be popping fireworks for 8 years straight.
Yes. Yeah, bro. Okay. And again, the school just shoves shit up your ass all day long. And I'm kind of glad I didn't listen because I'm kind of glad I read this because this gave me also and this is the end of the hot take, gave me a very different perspective on America versus British. And I feel like I'm kind of in the middle, bro, because I'm an American. I love being American. I'm very proud to be an American. But after reading this, I was kind of like, yo, the British were in the right, dude. The British didn't do anything wrong. They actually were just like, yo, you owe us money, bro.
The British, like when you read it like through the British eyes,
yes,
all they wanted was America to pay the tax for selling British troops for helping them in the 7-year war against Canada.
Against the French Indian War.
Who were encroaching in on the
Bro,
colonies.
you know how much we owed them? 90 million at the time, which translates like to like almost like $1 billion or something. Like here, you know what bothers me, dude, is all these people with like right now this day and age, like the number 13ers or the people that I'm a patriot in America, like these people right now, these like Fox News guys. Sorry if you're watching this, I don't mean to offend you, but guess what, dude? The first Americans, these people are like, fuck, like these people who are on welfare and want money and don't expect to give anything back. You know how that started in America, bro? We didn't want to pay our bills. We were like, what? Oh, you saved us? Thanks, but yeah. Oh no, we can't pay you. Fuck off. Bye. And then they were like, no, you have to because we're broke. We spent more money on you than we did on ourselves, and we need that money back so that we could like fucking like prosper. And we don't even give a fuck what you do. That's the other thing is like Britain was like, we don't care, do what you want, just pay us our money. And that's how it all started, bro. That's how it all started. And
also, the first Americans who actually showed up in America back in the days was in 1615 or 1610.
Okay.
Was in Jamestown.
Okay.
But in Jamestown, and there were people that showed up before them, but they didn't survive.
Okay.
But they started eating their boots, and then they started eating each other.
Oh, so you mean before like Columbus and all that?
No, before I said Columbus landed fucking Puerto Rico somewhere.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about before the.
No, here in America,
like the Pilgrims.
The Pilgrims that showed up.
There was already a group of people that showed up but didn't,
first and died.
Who were they?
They were they were from, I don't know what country they're from. Probably from England too.
No shit.
But they didn't make it. But they made it to Jamestown, which is over there in
Virginia.
In Virginia, bro. That's Jamestown, and they live right there by the ocean.
Okay.
And they first didn't. The second crew, they made it, bro. They made it all the way in, and they started building little towns in there. And then another group of people came. They were the Quakers.
Yeah.
And they showed up to Massachusetts,
right?
With modern day Massachusetts, and there was Indians there,
Mm-hmm.
But the Indians, they made friends with them because they needed help to fight other Indians.
Okay.
So, and those Indians, they fucking saw their weapons, and those people that were there, they went to go shoot those other natives with their muskets, and they took over that area of where Indians, and they had a deal with those Quakers, and they're the one that had celebrated the first Thanksgiving.
Oh,
yeah,
that's why the Quaker Oats guy looks like that.
They survived because the natives taught them how to grow food in the sand with using fish as fertilizer.
Yeah. That's interesting, dude. See, I did not. I knew about the fish. I paid attention long enough for 5 minutes in the 6th grade about the fish thing, and the Pilgrims, but I didn't know it was the Quakers.
I learned on the History Channel the story about.
I have no clue, bro. And then, honestly, dude, here's the thing too. Prior to, I honestly don't even know exactly what the 7 Years' War is about. Like, okay, I know it was a global campaign run by the French to fight the British on different fronts. And I know that French Indian War was part of it.
That's it, the French Indian.
But I don't know what that was about. But did you also know this? George Washington might be the person that started the French Indian War.
Really?
Yeah, he was like a newer guy, didn't kind of know what he was doing, dude. And they were on a patrol, and the French Indians were like not ready to fight yet with us or with the British at the time in that controlled area. And he freaked out and shot like a higher up, like an ambassador or something. And it fucking triggered the war. Like, so I read that somewhere. I mean, I don't know how true it is, but I actually know I saw it on YouTube on a documentary, on a History Channel documentary. So like they kind of suspect that he might have triggered that off as well. But like that's the thing is like I don't even know what really was the issue there. I think it was a territorial dispute or something.
So there was that war, you know,
Right.
that the colonies fought with alongside England. There were the French Indian War where they were fighting the French and the Mohicans.
Okay.
So, then there was another war before that one, but the more America grew, which was not America yet, it was just different states.
Right.
They were they
13
got
colonies.
The different colonies. As the more they grew, the more they felt like, hey man, we're still being controlled by somebody who lives 3,000 miles away.
Right.
So there was always like these group of people that were like also they were protecting the interests of the colonies,
Okay.
and they were called the Sons of Liberty.
Right.
And the Sons of Liberty was started by, before that they were called the Loyal Nine.
What's the Loyal Nine?
It was like 9 guys that were loyal to America.
Okay.
The colonies, right? Because they were and the Sons of Liberty was taken from a speech that was by a guy that was speaking for the Congressional Congress, and he said these people who fight for the interests of the colonies are the Sons of Liberty. And that guy was he ended up, later on he ended up being a Sons of Liberty too. The Sons of Liberty were was John Adams, Paul Revere, Benedict Arnold, Hancock, and
John Hancock.
And some other fools.
John Henry.
Patrick Henry.
Patrick
Henry.
Henry.
Yeah. So these fools got even more hardcore, man, when British imposed the Stamp Act, because they wanted America to pay 3%, which is a lot of money.
Right, for every little piece of paper.
For every little paper, yeah.
Yeah, anything that got moved from one person to another got
stamped. And they put the Stamp Act on cigarettes, wine,
cards,
you name it.
Playing cards. It was like if I were to write a letter to you and give it to you, like just even here, I would have to put a stamp on it.
So these Sons of Liberty, when that happened, they would try to go after as soon as the tax collector would show up, they would try to stomp him from doing his job or heckle him, you know.
Right.
You lawyers, you suck King George's dick.
Right.
First of all, man, if you would have said King George sucked my balls, you're dead.
Even here in America, even when it was here in the
in
colonies.
America, if you say something like that or write it on a paper, they'll hang you, man.
Okay.
So you can't even speak that. They can't speak, and you can't speak. It's like grounds for murder, man. If you were to say something really bad about the king.
So if I was like, "Fuck Joe Biden,"
no freedom of speech, bro.
No freedom of speech.
There was no freedom of speech.
Interesting.
So Paul Revere, he had a paper. He's the one that wrote. He wrote a paper. He wrote a paper, and he was a
right. He had a
blacksmith.
He had a printing press.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
All these guys had skills, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know that Paul Revere had like so Paul Revere was also an artist.
His brother was a historian of the colonies when everything got started.
Okay.
Which is why he's the one that wrote that Paul Revere did finish the ride when it wasn't. It was John Adams.
It was like 12 or 13 different people.
Because he got drunk and he fell.
Right. Well, there was like 13 original guys who planned it, and there was like dozens of guys who pulled it off. So like it wasn't just one dude. It was Paul Revere and a team of guys that planned it. Then they had like a series of guys that they would send out, and it was like dozens of guys that went out and did it.
And they had a bunch of, I found out why they call them the Minutemen. And it's not because they have sex in a minute. Because a Minuteman had to be ready with your gun and ready to go in a minute.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and they were not yet well trained. These were just like regular citizens still. These weren't like military people at all.
Then the Sons of Liberty, they would meet under a liberty tree, a tree that was called the Liberty Tree, because that's where they first met. And then when King George sent 3,000 troops, those troops, in order to piss them off, they would chop the tree to make firewood, where they did where they were
really?
meet.
Where was this at?
In Massachusetts somewhere.
Oh man, the Liberty Tree. I never even.
Yeah. So once the Sons of Liberty made it into the newspaper, other Sons of Liberty were opening up, like the Sons of Liberty in Rhode Island,
right?
The Sons of Liberty of Virginia,
right?
The Sons of Liberty of Maine, and then all these Sons of Liberty. I didn't know that the reason we're called the United States is because you had to get, because the people that were like from Rhode Island, it's like they represent Rhode Island, bro.
Right.
They're gonna fight for Rhode Island.
They're not Americans.
You ain't gonna fight for. They're not gonna help Massachusetts.
Right.
They ain't gonna help Virginia.
Yeah.
They're not gonna help Mississippi.
A state is a smaller country. A state is like a country with a small army or a small.
Yeah. So they were like a state, and that state, every state had to pay the same tax.
Right.
So the taxes will unite these people. Someone had to get these people united to get into to go after the British.
Right. Remember? Okay. So do you remember when we talked about Napoleon?
Yeah.
Corsica, the island that he's on. It's. I don't know if it is now, but at certain times it was considered a state, which is like just a country, small little force to maybe like fight off a small attack or arrest people. But it's not big enough to be a country. It's not. And it's not small enough to be a town or a city, so it's its own government, like the where the Pope lives, the Vatican's a state.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I mean, and we think of it as just a portion of a big country here in America.
This war, the American Revolution, was the first time we used a submarine.
Yeah, that's right.
There was a submarine that one of the spies used to get around, but it was a little tiny one, bro. Like he had to pedal it.
Right.
It didn't go too deep. Can you show the first submarine during the Revolution, American Revolution?
It was made out of wood and like...
Yeah, like a barrel, like a whiskey barrel.
Yeah, it was made out of like a lot of wood.
There it is right there.
It was like covered in tar.
And you have to pedal it, yeah.
Can you imagine being trapped in that thing?
Imagine, bro. How about... Yeah, man, it's crazy. So,
you had to be a small ass motherfucker to drive one.
American troops, when they started, like, first, they were the British troops showed up in Boston because of I think this was after the Tea Party, the Boston Tea Party, and they were protesting and they started throwing shells.
Oh no, this is before.
This is before.
So it this was like the shot heard around the world, like the really beginning of this. But so you had me start that book, Scars of Liberty, and they kind of explain a little bit before, and like history would have you be thinking that this starts here, but they're already kind of getting pissed off at the British being around, and the British government is kind of ignoring the British government here in the United States, and so there's not a lot that British military could do when they get heckled or fucked with. And at some point, they're kind of sick of their shit, and they're standing in front of, they're guarding the, I think it's the customs department. And
custom boost.
Yeah, and so people start getting, like, they're fucking with them at first. They're talking shit to them. They're trying to get a rise out of them. They know that they're not allowed to use their weapons. They know that they're not allowed to fucking fight them. And they keep heckling them, and then they kind of upgrade it to, like, a snowball fight. Then they started, like, throwing, like, rocks and oyster and, like, pieces of cement inside, like, the snowballs. And they're pelting the soldiers, the guards, with these, and they're grenadiers. These guards are grenadiers, so they're like combat veterans and stuff, and they're like pelting these guys, and someone kind of flips out, and there's a couple of different stories, but the most plausible one is that this guy gets hit with a fucking snowball. He drops his gun. On the path of picking it back up, he grabs the trigger, it goes off, and it shoots
Crispus Attucks, a black guy.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
Just at the LAPD.
The American Revolution started
when they shot.
When a person of authority innocently shot a black person. Good fucking Lord. Where's this going, dude? What's going to happen next? Floyd. I got to see it. Yeah, dude. So that's what happens. They kill this guy. They kill 2 other people. They wound, like, I don't know, 8 to a dozen other people, I think.
But the way they wrote it was they were unarmed.
Well, that's the thing, is that this is so okay again, man. And again, I love this country, so please don't think that I don't. But there's propaganda. A lot of bullshit here, where like Paul Revere is the first guy to kind of, him and his brother post the first like fake news, I would say, in America, where it's like he shows this fucking scene.
By the way, man, that little dog saw everything.
It shows this scene which didn't really go down that way. And they called it a massacre. 3 people died. 3 people died in this massacre. And so this triggers people to get fucking pissed. And they start flipping out. And, you know, and they start talk. And the real burning point for people is this taxes. We're getting taxed by this government that's so far away, that doesn't represent us. You know, but, and the thing is again, I got to defend the British. I don't know why I'm doing this, because people are going to hate me after this, but the British are just saying, look, we don't care what you do, bro. And I'm going to talk about Benedict Arnold as well, because I think Benedict Arnold was fucking also pushed to do what he did. Anyway, let's get back to this. So fucking, oh my God, dude, people are going to hate this. Look, dude. This is fake news. This shit gets started. People start losing their mind. They start fucking like revolting. Then they start going after like royalists and shit. And like, again, Britain's
loyalists were people that were like living in America who consider themselves British American when that shit started.
And again, they're like, we just want money for what we did. So we tax
none of these people were successful and rich, huh?
Right. So British tax this, price tax. They're taxing all these things. And every time there's a revolt over it, they go, okay, we'll take that tax off. At some point, they say, we're just going to tax tea. And guess what, bro? You know how much a box it was they were taxing? 3 cents. And at the time, 3 cents wasn't even a lot. Like now. That's like paying $5 for like a big old barrel of tea. You know, like a $5 tax or something like that.
Somebody's going to raise the price for tea to the drinker, too.
Well, okay, so that's the argument. But really what I think is happening here is that people are just mad. They're just mad. And like it is now, people are mad for no fucking stupid reason. And they're making a big deal out of shit. And it's like, again, Britain's like, at least pay your tax for tea so we can get our money back. But America's like, fuck that. And then they have the Tea Party.
Also, America doesn't have, at this time, they don't have a representation in Britain. In Great Britain, like
right? They do not, and that is
they don't have a senator from Virginia over there speaking on behalf of Virginia. They don't have a senator or whatever they call it back then, a lord or lieutenant governor. They don't have people speaking for their district over there, so they're asked to pay taxes without representation. Will remind me of a joke a comedian used to say. You know what's worse than taxes without representation? Taxes with representation. Either way, man, everybody's crying.
Right.
So these people, the American colonists, they couldn't vote they couldn't decide on laws that were or refute laws that were made up upon them. So they were pretty much Puerto Rico.
Well, yeah. Yes. And that's the thing is I get that.
They're Puerto Rico.
They are Puerto Rico. They're dude, no shit.
If Puerto Rico gets taxed and they don't get to vote.
Right.
They don't get to vote.
So I get that part. I do get that anger in that.
Puerto Rico could go to the States and come back out of the States, no problem.
Right.
The colonists, if they could afford it, they could go to Great Britain and come back and forth.
That's true.
But just like Puerto Rico, they're not allowed to vote.
That is true. How's it feel?
And I don't think there's a guy in Congress from Puerto Rico. No, right?
No, we don't have a representative from Puerto Rico, bro.
Exactly. So that's what that's what the colonists feel like. They feel like they're Puerto Rico.
Right, and I get that. I totally get that. But I also am like, and I'm not against the colonists here. I think the colonists definitely should have their like what they're asking for. But also the thing is that I'm more up against our like textbooks when we were younger or what I did read, because they made it seem like it was 100% people that wanted to be
free,
independent, and
not
it was
everybody,
like, bro, it was like half and half. It was like literally half and half. It was like, and then the other
they split brothers, huh? And
it's
fathers.
split family, dude. It's very, you know what I'm.
It's like Raider fans and 49er fans.
It's like Trump people, bro. It's like Trump people and not Trump people. Like we used to have. I'm not gonna name a part of our family, but there's a part of my family that I loved going to their parties so much.
Hold on, would you read that comment right now? Mighty Corn. Okay, keep going.
Okay, thank you. I agree. So I have a family that used to have their side of the family, my aunt's side of the family, my uncle's side of the family. It was all beautiful. We'd come together, hang out. Everybody knows each other. And then after the Trump era happened, our family's divided, and they don't have the parties no more. And I feel like this is like when I'm reading this because like Benjamin Franklin's son's like, "Fuck you, Dad. I don't want to be part of this." Like the country's split, and a lot of people don't want to be independent. The other thing that when in Scars of Liberty points out is that the Continental people were rounding up loyalists.
Tory hunting. What is Tory hunting, bro?
Tory hunting is a loyalist. And Tory hunting is basically rousting them out of their house.
Anybody who's for King George and not for the rebels.
Right. And then
this is during the war or before the war?
This is way before the war, bro. Like they were like, well, this is like not way before, but
so the
like
loyalists were asking the British for help against these fuckers.
Well, the loyalists were like, we just want to like
live
and not have to deal with this. But these continentalists, these people who are like, we want freedom of speech, we're like, you can't write about being loyalists. You can't have loyalist magazines. In fact, you can't even talk about being a loyalist because if you do any of those things, we're going to round you up and we're going to put you in a prison underground. And we're going to fucking make you rot down there. And they would put these, like, one of the chapters that I read in that book, they would take these loyalists and they'd put them in this, like, chamber under the ground where they had to, like, work. And they had to, like, duck. They were, like 50 feet underground. And they had to like duck and work down there, like without any like light or real oxygen. They would fuck these people up, dude.
Tarring and feathering is what they would get, man. They would.
That's right.
They would strip them naked.
Oh my god!
And like tar was used to put boats together, like around the whole boat, so it won't,
so it can float.
So it can float,
and it's waterproof.
So they would get these people. They were stripped and naked, and after they beat them, right. And they put tar all over them, and then they would just put feathers all over their body.
Mind you, though, the tar is hot. That's the thing that people forget when they think about tar and feathering. Like, you're just dipping this person in a warm bath of, like, hot, gooey shit.
A lot of them, what I read was that a lot of them were, when they were putting on them, was cold, and that tar still works the way it's not that
No,
warm.
fuck no. Tar
That's what I read.
On
the U.S. History Channel.
There's no way, because tar has to be heated to like find out what.
They said it works also not heated, but not burning. It wasn't burning.
Oh no, bro! It was scalding.
Really?
Yeah, bro. Like the book you had me read, the Tory hunting, the very first chapter. They're like the guy's flesh was coming off in steaks. Remember, he survived.
They said it was not as hot, but it was still hot. It was warm.
How warm?
Not like boiling, but it still blistered the skin.
Yeah. So, like, that's the thing, is that it doesn't kill you because if it was boiling.
But then you got the feathers, though. Yeah. The goose feathers.
And you know what they would do with the feathers if it wasn't
they put them all over your body, huh?
But if it wasn't raining, you know what they would do with them? They'd light them on fire. So you're just burning alive.
In front of your whole family, huh?
Yeah, dude. In front of people, everything, dude. Like, that's the thing, is your skin would blister, dude. Like, imagine getting worse than a stun burn, but the cake over it is tar. It's like...
Then the lieutenant governor of Massachusetts, he was tarred. He was the one that left with his whole family to Great Britain.
Yeah, Malcolm.
John Malcolm. He said that he thought everybody liked him at first, but then the British made him in charge of make sure that everybody pays that 3%
Bro,
tax.
that's the guy that said they beat him. They beat him, and then when they declothed him, his arm fucking like came dislocated. Then it was like cold. He was naked in the cold for like 3 days. They covered him fucking hot tar to the point of where like they were taking the tar off. They said it felt like it was coming off in steaks. And then they fucking surprisingly he survived. The doctor's like, there's no way anybody can survive this much pain. This fucking guy survived. And what do you say happened to him?
What?
Where did he end up?
Oh, he went back to Great Britain.
That's crazy.
But that guy, he had wrote a letter to Great Britain to complain about he's feeling worried about the colonists. They don't want to pay the taxes.
This is blowing my mind.
And dude. Benjamin Franklin got to see that letter. He was on the same boat when that letter was. He hadn't received that letter, and he read it, and he's the one that sent the letter back to he sent the letter back to the colonists, and that's when they got him. Because
that's right.
Yes, because that letter made
that's the one that Benjamin Franklin fucked up.
Yeah,
right?
and then he had to. That's when they fucking kicked Ben Franklin out of Great Britain, bro.
Right, that's right. They kicked him out of Great Britain. They shamed him, and then they kicked him out.
Yeah, him and his cold sore,
dude.
Great Britain. He invented the bifocal, and he thought that's all I knew about Ben Franklin before this. That he invented the bifocal, and I learned that in the office.
Right.
And that he flew a kite with a key and invented electricity.
Yeah. Well, he discovered the power of electricity.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I thought a bit where I said Ben Franklin, he was the first openly gay man in a revolutionary, because you see his picture number 5 is always like.
There's a statue of him in a dress in Philadelphia.
He's like,
yeah. And
then he was flying a kite, bro. A 40-year-old man flying a kite, bro, with knickers, a little key to his hotel room.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
That's what I thought. That was one of my bits. So I found out that he was actually a very important man.
I didn't know. Yeah, I honestly didn't. I remember the electricity thing. Didn't really put that shit together.
He's buried in Massachusetts, by the way, in Boston.
Yeah.
Not in America.
Look up statue of Benjamin Franklin in a dress. Because I saw this when we were in Philly.
That's Benjamina.
It's like him as the Liberty or something like that.
You know,
him in a dress.
George Washington.
Maybe it's not there.
If you look at George Washington's on the ship.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That's him in a dress.
But that was a big show. He had to pretend, bro, to get money. He had to go to France for that one. Look up the picture of George Washington crossing that river.
The Delaware.
Okay. Look, zoom in, and there's a black guy right next to him.
Yeah, over in front of him.
Yeah.
To his left.
Yeah, that guy was his advisor, bro. They used to strategize together. He is super, super intelligent.
Yeah,
man.
Billy Lee. They a lot of people think Billy Lee was a big.
Yeah.
Was doing most of the planning.
Yeah, and he was like yeah, man, he was always there with him, bro. Yeah, he was always there. Like if you wanna see Billy Lee in action, go watch that show Turn on AMC. And he's pretty much left in charge of a lot of things, man. He's very smart.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's the commander of the Navy. The other thing, I mean, of the Army. The thing is, George Washington was not
prejudice.
No, he wasn't prejudiced. Well, he kept slaves, so I mean,
But we didn't know about it. But it was a different style back then.
I guess.
So what happened when who was the guy when George Washington won a couple of victories? He hired somebody to teach his troops how to fight in 1775.
Oh, that's
1776. 77. My bad.
No, it's not.
It was a Persian guy from Persia. Frederick Wilhelm, man. He was
From Prussia.
He was from Prussia, and he was like let go from the Prussian army because rumors of him being a homosexual, which he was. But George Washington, he didn't care.
Oh, he had a thing for boys.
He had a thing for boys, so George Washington didn't care about none of that because regardless of his sexual preference for men, he was still a good strategist and a good fighter and a good guy to lead an army. He was the one, and this is no pun intended.
Yeah.
He's the one that told the cavalry, the American troops, to put that bayonet.
Right.
He
taught the bayoneting of the rifles. I also want to point out. Let me go back to the Benedict Arnold before we get. So my thing with Benedict Arnold was this, bro. Okay, first he wins. He helps to win the battle against Ticonderoga
and loses the leg, bro. He pretty much goes out there.
Hold on, we're going ahead of it because bro, you got to start out because he got fucked, bro. He won. He helped win the Battle of Ticonderoga with Ethan Allen. Ethan Allen totally left him out.
The furniture guy.
Yes. The fucking guy that we named after the furniture. He's a total piece of shit. He leaves him out.
Ethan Allen is a furniture guy, huh?
Well, we have an Ethan Allen in furniture store. I don't know if he's the furniture guy, but I mean, it's named after him. But like,
yeah.
So like, he gets left out of that win. Then he actually, bro, during the Battle of Saratoga, he comes up, like, first of all, he starts to argue with this guy, like, Gates, who's the other general, and they're going back and forth, and he's like, listen, we can't come at these guys with a regular way of doing things because they're better than us. We have to, like, hide in trees and have rifles. And the guy goes, nah, man, you're full of shit. And he goes, dude, you're being dumb. The guy gets mad. Gates gets mad, tells him to go away, locks him in his room, but Benedict Arnold sneaks out, gathers his men, does guerrilla-style warfare, hides in trees, wins the Battle of Saratoga. Not only does he get claimed for it, he gets in trouble for it. That happens. And then fucking he starts getting accused of all kinds of shit that he didn't do. And then, like, he goes to Washington. He goes, I'm a good dude, bro. Like, I fucking did all kinds of shit for us.
Remember,
already.
bro? Sons of Liberty?
Yeah. And fucking George Washington goes...
Loyal 9?
George Washington goes, I don't care what you're telling me, bro. You're a bad... Like, I have to say you're a bad guy in order to get, like, these munitions and stuff like that. And so he gets fucked over. So, like, to me, bro, I'm telling you, man, if you work for someone loyally for so long and they just treat you like shit over and over and over, and the minute you get to have a better opportunity, what are you going to do? Like, Benedict Arnold was, like, shamed by this country for so long. So I feel like if I was him, I might have done the same thing.
You know what's crazy? They mentioned Benedict Arnold in that show TURN, Turn on AMC as a spy. And they show this scene where they killed these congressional army guys, and because they stole some food from somewhere,
right?
And they were hungry, they ate it, so they got murdered, bro.
Jesus.
For robbery.
Yeah.
Right. And George Washington ordered it. He okayed it, even though he didn't want to.
Right, to make an example out of him.
But later on, when one of his main guys is found out to be an actual spy,
right?
Everybody hoping him to do the same and kill him. He goes, no, it's gonna look bad on us that we killed that we have our spy in our ranks.
Right.
They just demoted him and put him in the back, and that was it.
That was it. Just made him go into like, just disappeared him into like,
that's it.
What is it?
No rank, no nothing,
like
bro.
obscurity.
Obscurity.
Fuck, dude. That's the one thing, man.
I would have said, he's a spy and he ate a turkey leg.
George Washington.
Killed him, motherfucker.
George Washington did.
A gentleman, bro.
He was actually, dude, he was a really smart guy.
There's a scene that I learned on one of these history documentaries that George Washington was on his horse and the British had a clear shot to kill him, to shoot him in the back of the head,
Right.
and shoot the back of him and end it right there.
Right.
But they have to follow protocol. You can't kill the high-ranking
the British
officer.
were being gentlemen.
You can't kill a high-ranking officer in his back.
Right.
If he had turned around, they could have killed him, but not to his back.
Right.
And who would have killed him, bro? Who was doing the opposite of that?
We were. Benedict Arnold was, actually. Benedict Arnold was the first one, because that's the other thing that I wanted to point out.
That they had a lot of what helped America was that there was a shitload of frontiermen that were knocking fools off
I have to
300
express
yards away.
to you that I love my country, that I'm very proud. I have a grandfather.
I think you're moving to Liverpool, bro.
World War
this.
II. My dad fought in Vietnam. I performed for the troops, but before I
You fought diabetes, bro?
I fought diabetes in the war of 2024.
Of sugar. You fought the pandemic?
I'm saying all this because I really feel like, bro, like the British just wanted their money back. And then we're like, fuck you. We're going to fucking fight you. And then the British were like, all right, fine. We'll fight you for your money. And then we cheated. Then we were like, all right, we're not even going to fight in the conventional way. And we started like popping up in bushes and shooting them. Like, hey, good for us. We got where we're at right now. But like, bad. Also, the other thing is nobody mentions is the British were like, and they stuck to it too. They said any black slaves who fly with us will be free,
They freed the slaves in 1776.
They took them back with them.
Yeah.
They took them. They didn't leave them. The British didn't say, hey, fight with us, and then fucking do probably what America would have done, take off and left them there, what Napoleon did with his men. The British took all the slaves that fought after the surrender, after Americans won the revolution. They took them with them. But you know what else the British were trying to do? They were trying to get the Native Americans to fight with them. And they said, listen, and they had, this is real evidence of this. The British were like, we do not want your land. We do not want your territories.
Because they didn't want, they didn't want the colonists to spread west.
Right. Well, because the British were like, they thought America was just a big piece of shit. They thought it was a rock that was like worth nothing.
They thought it was Guam.
Yeah, they thought it was too far away. They didn't know about it. At this time, bro, no, not aware of California, not aware of its gold, not aware of all the things that Texas has, like oil, not all the... So the British very dumbly were like...
They already took all the fur before
we don't want any of this stuff. Not that the British weren't capable of taking out the Indians and taking their territories. They just didn't want it. They weren't interested in it. Had the British won the war, the Native Americans would not have lost all their land like they did, and we would not have had black slavery as long as we did. I am just saying that. Again, very proud American.
Also, can I mention this?
Go for it.
When those people landed in Jamestown,
yeah,
they showed up with a plant that was illegal to be taken out of where it's supposed to be.
Wait a minute. It was
tobacco.
That's right.
It was illegal to fucking take that plant because the Spaniards were in charge of tobacco.
That's right.
So them bringing that tobacco plant to Jamestown and growing tobacco, because then later on they became the biggest tobacco producers in America. That's how Virginia was born.
Right.
Tobacco.
Well, we're still the largest tobacco producers in the world.
So that's what I'm saying. Like they showed up, bro, with that fucking tobacco plant and started growing tobacco.
That's what's crazy.
Which it was like
that shit killed Americans, millions of Americans.
Bringing that tobacco plant to America was like if they would have been stopped by a ship, a British ship, or a Spanish ship, kill everybody on the boat, arrest everybody.
Really? Shit.
It's like it was worse than bringing a bag of cocaine into America back then. Find out how illegal was it to have a tobacco plant in the 1600s?
That blows my mind, dude. That blows my mind. All that stuff. This whole thing has blown my mind because like I had a vague idea of what the American Revolution was, but I didn't realize like all that.
It's all business, man.
It's all business because that's the other thing too, man. Is like before we go too crazy, it's like George Washington, Thomas Paine, John Hancock, John Henry, Thomas Paine, Ethan Allen. All these guys that were involved in this shit had so much money that Alexander Hamilton, they had so much money it didn't matter who was in charge of the Americas. It was all about power. Like this was, dude, like if you look into this, man, You know, I could say the only one that really wasn't, and Lisa pointed this out, was like more George Washington, but everybody else was about power. Like Benjamin Franklin.
George Washington, he didn't want to be a king.
Well, he didn't want to even do presidency, but he knew he had to do it. Like, he didn't even want to fight. He was super reluctant.
He was like, I'll stay together until we get this shit straight.
Right. He kept saying, I just want to go home, dude. But yeah, that's the thing, man, is like the rest of those guys, it was all just power grabbing. And it was all just rallying people, getting people to get upset.
Imagine the balls, bro, the balls it took for America to write the Declaration of Independence, bro.
Yes.
To the biggest army in the world.
Well, that's why we say John Hancock. Put your John Hancock right there. Because everybody signed with real small letters that were kind of...
He wrote it all big, huh?
Dude, John Hancock was like, fuck you. Boom. So that's why we use the term, put your John Hancock right there. John Henry wrote his a little bit bigger, so sometimes we say John Henry.
Also, when the British showed up in Boston, there wasn't like it wasn't like when American soldiers showed up to a base in Guam or American base in Germany, and there's already like beds, living room, a cook.
Yeah.
Nah, man, the British showed up, and the king and whoever was the lieutenant governor of that state said, just find quarter wherever you're at. So like there was a house with 4 people, right, and the husband and wife sleep on that bed. The British soldier would just take the wife and husband's bed and everybody else on the floor.
Right.
And they had to wash his clothes and they had to feed him.
Right. Yeah.
And he would get up in the morning, he would eat breakfast that your wife made, and then put on his red suit and go fucking patrol with his troops, and then come back, eat dinner with you, and put on his suit and go to his room. And they did this with everybody. Even like if there was like Ben Franklin's house, somebody was living on it when he was exiled during this time. And I think, imagine, bro, we're gonna take your house and this British guy who's whiter than everybody,
right?
Whiter complexion, bro. Red lobster, looking like a lobster, gonna sleep in your house.
Fuck no.
You know that when America started growing as people, and more people started growing by 1700, American people were already growing taller and bigger than the British people because of what we were eating over here.
Oh, that makes sense.
But imagine, man, I was watching this show where this colonist was telling this British guy, how do you feel about taking lands for England? Then he goes, you know what? Never been to England. I was born in Havana, and I fought during the Sugar Wars. So he was a British guy born in Havana,
right?
Bro, under British rule when the British controlled Cuba. Imagine, bro, they controlled Cuba and sugar back then.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing too, man.
That's why the Cuban flag has stripes and the Hawaiian flag has stripes, because they all belong to Britain.
Right. Right. Well, and that's the other thing that I realized or was noted in reading this and learning about all this, that like
the rebel flag the United States flag has stripes because they were called the rebel flag, the rebel stripes.
Right. So the British were fighting on all kinds of different fronts. They were fighting in Egypt. They were fighting in France. They were fighting in Prussia. They were fighting in the Latin American countries, and they were fighting here. And so that's why we were able to like get help from the
France,
because France just wanted to fuck fools up, dude. France just wanted to fight fucking British people.
Yep.
And so like that's a lot of it too, is like, man, as we shit on French people, man, like France is a big reason why we have what we have to this day.
They saved us.
They saved us. Like they literally saved us.
We had no navy.
We had no navy.
Also, man, the as we did when we did the history for pirates.
Yeah.
This was the American Revolution. Pretty much was the end of piracy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was like
because before, also what started the revolution was that a lot of people in Jamestown, Charleston, they were dealing with pirates who had stolen stuff, and they were not paying taxes on that.
Right.
We read about in the pirates.
Yeah. This is all, dude. What's crazy is that you can.
They all line up together.
Bro, you can because also Napoleon. So if you take when we were talking about Chinese food, one of the things we were talking about was the Opium Wars. One of the things that ended the Opium Wars was Britain fighting was ended up fighting with the Chinese with bayonets, but their artillery got better because of the Napoleonic Wars. And then if you go back to the Napoleonic Wars were brought on by the Revolution, which was, dude, that's the other thing that cracks me up is that the French helped us. You know how much we owed them afterwards? We owed them like $300 million, which is like about $3 billion.
Well, back then it was 60 million or 70.
It was 300. It was like, no, it was a lot, bro. In the end, we like, even for then, it was like 300 million. Like, it was a lot. Like, we bankrupted France, okay? We bankrupted France, and then we France saw our revolution. The people of France saw our revolution, and they went and had their own revolt. So imagine, bro, you help this country have their revolution, which King George did, and then it encourages your people to fight you because you're broke helping them. You're broke helping them, so they get upset with you that you're broke, and then they fucking attack you and have their own revolution. We fucked up a lot, bro.
Yeah, because it was during the time when the French was helping us. It was during Queen Antoinette.
Yeah, Marie Antoinette and King Louis the 14th.
And you know, I didn't know that, but King Marie Antoinette's brother, he was the emperor. I don't know if he's the emperor during the time of Mozart. Look for the what emperor did Mozart play for, Philip? Well, we're not get into it, but I'm gonna just tell you something about him. The emperor of Austria during Mozart. So he's the one that goes he's the one that used to hire Mozart for to do commission plays. Emperor Philip. No.
Emperor Philip.
From Austria, right?
Yeah, Joseph II.
Joseph II. They say that he's the precursor of Adolf Hitler.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing is that I was talking to someone the other day, dude, because I was talking about history.
A British guy?
No, it's just someone that
spy.
was. So it was a fan of the podcast, but they were like pointing out. They ended up talking about how like even our problems right now, what we're having in the Middle East, go all the way back to World War One. But before World War One was the blah 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 blah. Everything's led into basically everything to right now. Like everything's a consequence of like right now is a consequence of everything that's ever happened. And that's like if you think about it, man, one of the things I think about is like, what if the British had won? What would things have been like? Because you can't really fathom that. The closest that you could think of is like maybe Canada, but still like British had its own like independence revolution because of our own independence revolution. So like it's hard to imagine, but there's so many different ways to look at it.
One thing that George Washington had, he had a lot of spies, like a shitload of spies. Like there was a guy that owned a bar in Massachusetts when the British were there, and he wrote down how many ships were there, and he sent it back to George Washington with one of his spies. And one of the spies later on, they found out his name was. I work with a comedian with the same name. God damn it. I can't think of his name. Cunningham, I think. Well, I can't think of his name. But that guy, his father was a Tory.
Okay.
And he lived in a town that were all loyalists to the British.
Okay.
And the British they were in control of that town, and they lived with British people all day. Like their church, where they had their church, where was the guy, the captain of the area? he kept his horse there.
Okay.
So imagine, bro, they kick out everybody out, and they take out all those benches where you used to pray,
Right.
but now it's a horse stable. How not?
Oh.
How disrespectful is that? And then when they didn't have no cement to block, the troops from coming in,
Right.
they made them take other tombstones out and put them in a line to protect them.
Oh, I've heard of this. Yes.
So that's even more crazy.
That's so disrespectful. Have you heard of?
Just look for George Washington's spy, Andy.
Do you know who John Paul Jones is?
Yeah, he's one of the guitarists for Led Zeppelin.
Close. Very close, actually, Felipe. He's actually the first guy that took a boat over.
Huh?
John Andre?
No, man. He's one. Andy. He was a lettuce farmer.
So John Paul Jones was the first person to kidnap the Ranger, which was a
Queen's Ranger.
a medium. Yeah, it's a medium-sized frigate, and he took it across the ocean with like a really small crew into Great Britain. This is during the American Revolution, and
Just look at that show turn, IMDb.
he started firing on bases at in Great Britain, and then he'd take off, and then he would slowly come back and forth and terrorize the British people, making them get mad, trying to get King George to stop the war.
Andy Woodhull.
Mm.
Andy Woodhull was later on when they opened up the papers. He was a spy for George Washington, and he when they broke up that town and they freed the slaves, they said they sent one of the slaves to live in one of the quarters where the British were.
Okay.
And his name was Major Andre.
Right on.
And the spy lived with Major Andre, and that black spy, her son lived in the colony still.
Okay.
So she would send him like a present, like a little ship, and inside of the ship would be a note, and she would tell this other woman who owned a bar in that area, hey, I saw 7 naval ships who just arrived. And then she goes, oh, today Major Andre had a visit from Benedict Arnold. So she broke it. Huh? Abraham Woodhull, yeah.
Abraham Woodhull.
Andy Woodhull, the comedian.
Yeah.
There's an Andy Woodhull comedian now.
Yeah, that's what I found.
Yeah, so Abraham Woodhull. So Abraham, they burned his stock. They burned the loyalists, the rebels. They fucking burned his stock because they didn't know he was a spy, bro. He didn't tell no one. They thought he was Tory, but he always was a spy.
Right.
He must have a good spy, by the way. And he went to he was cruising one day, just walking around.
Yeah.
And that's when he first started being a spy. He saw the Hessian army.
Right.
They were modern day Germany. The Hessian army.
Right.
They were show a picture of the Hessian army.
Yeah, they're pretty psycho looking.
They were brought in from Great Britain. They were hired to fight the colonists, bro. And because the colonists were breaking the law of congressional fighting.
Okay.
So they brought in the Hessian army to do whatever the fuck they want. And during Christmas there was a ceasefire or whatever, but the Hessian army didn't find a ceasefire. By the way, after the American Revolution, a lot of these Hessians, they stood in America and they created towns.
No, go back to, that's not a Hessian fighter. Go back to what you had before.
And these guys ended up staying in places where
before that, the guy on the far left on the top.
Yeah, so these guys
top left, that's a Hessian fighter, right?
Yeah,
there.
so these guys ended up staying in America after the war, and these guys are responsible for bringing the first Christmas tree in America, and we discussed this during the history for Christmas.
Oh, you're right.
When these motherfuckers,
a Tawny Bomb,
they fucking lit a tree with candles to celebrate Christmas. The fucking American colony, the congressional army came in and blasted those fools. So that was one army that the king used. There was another army besides the Redcoats. They were called the Queen's Army, and they were pretty much the Queen's Army because they were named after Queen Charlotte, and these guys they didn't wear the fucking white wigs. They wear like brown wigs, and they were pretty much the Secret Service of the fucking of the King of George. So these guys were like green, what you call green berets,
right? Like
and
special,
Navy
like
SEALs.
special forces.
And they were bad motherfuckers. They were under the leadership of Captain Simcoe. Captain Simcoe recruited a lot of slaves to join this army, and a lot of American loyalists and Tories.
Yeah.
And then when the war was over, he told everybody to tell he freed all his troops, and he told them to tell everybody that they were in prison the whole time, and they were all freed.
Right.
So they got to be Americans at the end.
Right.
But he went on to Canada, became a war hero in the War of 1812.
Ah, okay.
Also, Captain Simcoe, he fought in Havana too.
Wow.
So he ain't no joke, bro.
That guy fucking went everywhere.
He fucked a lot of motherfuckers up.
Sure
dog.
did, dude.
He fucked up. And you see that guy right there next to him?
Uh-huh.
He's a freed slave, by the way, in the show. And that guy, Captain Simcoe likes him because he fucked somebody up which is now modern day capoeira.
Ah, okay.
So that guy pretty much is using
capoeira fighting,
and mixed martial arts.
Shit.
Yep.
Wow. That's a good. I'm gonna try watching that show. It looks good.
Yeah, there was another guy, man, that was helping the British, and he was like a spy hunter, and he investigated spies. He's the one that followed that letter all the way to America.
Right.
And I forgot his name though. But he was look for a spy hunter in the United States, and that fool, bro, he didn't fight by the books either, and he almost caught Abraham. What's his name?
Woodhull. Got it.
No, that's how Abraham Woodhull, but the guy that I forgot the name of the guy, but the other guy was a decorated guy too, bro. Bad motherfucker.
No shit.
Yeah. He fought the guy I'm talking about. He was a captain on a ship, and he fought wars for the British.
Okay.
Captain Robert Rogers, Lieutenant Colonel Robert Rogers, born November 7, 1731, and died in May 1795, was an American colonial frontiersman. Rogers served in the British Army during both French and Indian War and the American Revolution War. During the French War and Indian War, Rogers raised and commanded the famous Roger Rangers, who later on was replaced by the Queen's Rangers when Captain Simcoe took over. And his nickname was White Devil. So whenever you hear the reference White Devil, it was that motherfucker. So where you gonna be at, bro? In London performing now that you're leaving America?
I'm gonna be at the Wild Pig Pub.
Well, no, we're performing that. You have shows coming up?
Do I have shows coming up? That's a fucking good question.
This Friday, man, I'll be in San Jose at the SAP Center with Ralph Barbosa, Tony Rock, Ada Rodriguez, D.L. Hughley, and Cedric Entertainment.
Nice, dude. This Wednesday, March 6th, I'll be at the Citizen Market, Culver City. And then the 7th, I'll be at the Mambo Room. And then the 13th, come catch me at the Long Beach Laugh Factory with Paul Rodriguez.
Orale. History for Fools. What's up, bro? You got anything else to add?
Man, I like, you know what? I was really actually, I liked it. I'm not mad at America. I just was like, man, they make it seem like we were super self-righteous for doing what we did.
I saw this when I was preparing for this, I saw this interview where they were talking about such and such, and Mos Def says, come on, when you really break it down, America was a terrorist group.
It was. Well, that's what I was pointing out with that guy, John Paul Jones. He was like, he took a boat over to fucking the UK and just started attacking like towns and like causing terrorism in order to get them to get upset so that they go to their government and say, stop fucking with American people and come back and stop fighting those wars, which is how terrorism works. So, yeah.
And don't be starting revolutions on History for Fools.
Yeah,
that was the American Revolution. Later on, we'll do the...
I love America, by the way.
We'll do the Civil War. And later on, we'll do World War I if you want to.
I want to do... I would like to do the Opium Wars.
The Norteño and Sureño War, huh?
No, I don't want to do that shit no more, bro.
Okay. Opium War it is.
Opium Wars. Yes. All right.
History for Fools.
History for Fools. See you guys next time.
Dumbasses. You were retired. It was well for the tar feather.
Well, I think the Star Spangled Banner. So you can hear Star Spangled Banner.
Nice.